So right now, if you look on our papers, we're going to go over types of drugs, what determines how they affect you, and how to actually take them. So for your papers, what type of drugs are there? There's pot, LSD, heroin, and cocaine, crack. What determines how it will affect a person is, I want you to write down for your answers. Don't just put like height, weight, age, because those are all pretty much the same thing. They're all relevant to each other, but the most important one is weight and how much a person weighs, and that will determine how great the effects are that people have, that the drug has on a person. So how are some ways that you can take drugs? Well, you can smoke it. All right, you can snort it. You can inject it. You can swallow it. And there's also a type of drug you can do into the vein, which is vein lining. And then the other one is called skin popping, where you don't put it into the vein, you actually inject it just under the skin. So why is taking drugs a bad thing? Because you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what's in it. You don't know how much of it is in it, that kind of thing. Like, for example, what does cocaine look like? It is white powder, correct? What is baking soda? White powder. Rat poison? White powder. You can mix all three of these up and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And why do people do this? Why do people mix it up? Even poison, like you said back there, that if you put poison in it, then you would kill off the people that are buying the drugs, and you wouldn't exactly have a consumer anymore. Well, it's cheaper to put things like baking soda in cocaine, because then you'd be using less pure, and then you would run out of pure cocaine slower, so you'd have more overall to give to people, to sell to people. But the poison, why people add poison to cocaine, well, if you imagine like the organizer of the drug ring, or the kingpin, do you think the kingpin or the people who are in charge actually take the drugs? No, they're way too smart for that. They don't take the drugs themselves. They're too busy giving it out to other people, and why do they not take it? Because they see the effects, they see what it does to people, they see the addiction, that kind of thing. So they don't really care about what they're putting in it, because there's no love in the drug industry. Like, they honestly, they don't care about one particular consumer, because there's so many other people who are going to buy it. Like, it doesn't matter. And they might actually poison a client, a buyer, if they suspect that they're an undercover cop, or they're giving information to the police, if they're going to go to the police about something. Like, there was one story where they had a girl who was kind of an undercover informant for the police, and so she went to go buy the cocaine, and so the police went minutes later after they did the exchange for the drugs, and they went in, they busted, and the girl was already lying on the couch and she was dead, because the drug seller had given her pure cocaine. And what happens when you take pure cocaine? Death, bad things happen, it's not good. And I mean, it could be laced with other awful things too, like you can lace pot with LSD, you can put other type of hallucinogens that make this combination that people aren't really sure what will happen to the body. And kind of think about it, like the whole poisoning thing, like why would you poison your consumer, or why would you give them pot laced with LSD, because then they would get a bad reaction to it. And you're right, there's really no logical reason to it, but some people just do it literally because they want to, like it's fun for them. Like there's a story about people who put LSD on stamps, because I mean, who licks stamps, who does that? Children have access to stamps around the house, around the post office, all that kind of thing. So these people were administering LSD to children through this kind of process with the stamps, simply because they wanted to know what would happen to kids, what the effect of LSD is on children, and so they had no reason. There was no money involved, they didn't get anything from it, they just simply felt like it. So there are people out there and they sell drugs, so it's like, so now we're going to move on to solubility and how a drug becomes soluble into a body. There are two things that drugs are soluble in: fat and water. And if something is soluble in fat, that means it'll store in the fat and it will actually last longer in the body. The effects will last longer. Things that are soluble in water, such as cocaine, it gets in the stream faster, it leaves faster, so that's why people who have cocaine get such sudden, intense highs, because it's soluble in water and is only there for a shorter amount of time, but it's more of an intense amount of time. Where things that are soluble in fat, such as pot or LSD, they store in the fat and they last longer, up to actually 30 days. So if you were to take pot, let's say you want to take pot today, but you have a job interview in a week and a half, and you know that they're going to do a drug test. So you're like, I'm just going to do some pot now, to calm down, to relax myself, and then I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to smoke pot for a whole week and a half, and then it'll be good. But actually, pot is staying for about a month. So if you start here and you have your job interview, it will actually last until then. But let's say you're like, well, I just been feeling really, I just want to take more. So about here, you smoke another joint with your friends. And now the effects last longer. So that's why people perpetually have them in their system, because it just kind of overlaps and keeps going. And that's why it can be really dangerous for people who want to get jobs and have to do drug tests for those jobs. And so we had a question in the back about if you are just around people who are smoking pot, can you get high from that? Will it get into your blood and will it store in your fat for a whole month? And yes, it will get into your bloodstream and you can get high from it, but depending on the proximity, how much there was, how close you were, just like how long it had been in the air, really depends on how much it will affect you. Generally not the full 30 days, not as much as it would if you had consumed the pot yourself, but it still is a pretty long time, so it's just best to not be in those kind of situations. That actually brings us to our next, which is setting, because, I mean, you've walked into a room, or out on the street, really not out on the street because it's pretty open, but yeah, if you've gone into a room where people were previously smoking pot, maybe 10 minutes ago, you can tell, you can smell it, it hangs in the air. You may get a little bit of the effects, not the full effect, but it can, and it could get into your bloodstream, and it could pop up in a drug test. So you have to be really careful about where you are and what's been happening in that area, and just make sure that you're in a safe environment that is drug-free and has been drug-free. And then also we're going to talk about the combination of uppers and downers. So things like cocaine, they're uppers. They make you feel really good about yourself and make you feel really energetic, that kind of thing. Where alcohol generally is a downer. It makes you feel sluggish and slower and down and depressed. So what would happen if you were to combine two downers, it would double the effect. So you would feel twice as down, twice as slow, twice as depressed, and that can be really dangerous. It could lead to death, it could, yes. But just the effects could be dangerous overall, but yes, they can in fact lead to death. So when you think, if you have two downers, and that just doubles the effect, if you had an upper and a downer, it would just equal out. You would just stay at zero. You would just be normal, right? No, wrong. Depending on the combination of upper and downer, it could have any kind of effect on your body that they're not really quite sure about. It's definitely not going to put you back at normal, but they could have all sorts of effects. They could combine, one could override the other. It's very dangerous to mix type of things that do that, because nobody knows what is going to happen, how it's going to affect your body in particular. Everybody reacts to different things, and so it's just safer to not mix at all or do at all, because they don't actually know what it will do. So yeah, so don't mix uppers and downers.